Welcome to the Loving Path podcast, episode 2. Thank you so much to everyone who watched that first episode. I was pretty overwhelmed with the response. I kind of thought that my husband and my son would watch and maybe a couple nitty friends, but I didn't really think that I'd get that many people viewing it, let alone subscribers at all, really. So that was really a wonderful surprise. So thank you to everyone who tuned in, and if you're new, welcome to this episode. This is episode 2, and this is a podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing and really just living a simple life and doing the best I can to be true to myself and that kind of thing. So welcome. So my weekend, I'm going to just start with that because I had mentioned that it was Thanksgiving weekend here, and we had a lovely weekend. We didn't do a heck of a lot, to be honest. We really just kind of hung around the house, played board games. I edited the podcast on the weekend and then had it out for the Monday. That's kind of how my weekend was spent. And then we board games. I think we went for a walk. We didn't do a heck of a lot. I really don't have pictures. I said I have pictures, but I don't think I really took that many. But that was that. And then this past weekend was the Harry Potter festival, so the Festival of Wizardry. And that was pretty cool. It didn't really compare, to be honest. So when we went to the UK last year, if you watched the last episode, I said that we went on a 6-week trip, my family and I, to... This is annoying, isn't it? Sorry. I'll keep my hands down. We went to a trip to the UK for 6 weeks, and that was a lot of fun. Whilst we were there, we went to... we saw lots of shows in London, and we saw, including The Cursed Child, which was incredible. And we went to Warner Brothers Studio where Harry Potter was filmed, so the making of Harry Potter. And so, of course, this festival in a little town here in southwestern Ontario didn't really compare to doing that. But keeping that in mind, it was still pretty fun. Everyone was dressed up. My son, I'll put a picture of him up here, he was dressed as Harry Potter. We wore Harry Potter swag that we had. I have a Luna shirt that has a beautiful red kind of sparkly thestral on it, and it says, I can see them too, you're just as sane as I am, and I love that t-shirt. And then my husband wore his Cursed Child t-shirt, and it was fun. It was good. There was a Quidditch match. I'm going to try and insert some stuff here at the end. So there was a Quidditch match, and there was butterbeer, which was ridiculously expensive. We bought one just because, but people were walking out of there, everybody had one, and they were like $10, and all it was cream soda. I was like, you guys are nuts. But anyway, it's the experience. So there was that, and they had some tents with vendors. I got something cute that I'll show in a little bit. Anyway, it was really fun. That was kind of cool. But the weather wasn't great. It was warm enough, but it was windy a bit, and it was rainy. But the whole town had been transfigured into a wizarding village. So all the shops along the main street were all partaking, and that was super cool. It was just cool to walk in and have everyone dressed up, and there was a scavenger hunt. We had to look for clues, and so that was fun. Anyway, it was a good time. I'll try and put some stuff in at the end so that you can see it. But yeah, that's kind of where we were, what we did in the weekend. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I think too, before I head into finished objects, I was just going to mention a couple podcasts that I've found recently that are also pretty new and that I've quite enjoyed. So the first one is called A Wooden Nest, and that is Lindsay, and you can find her on Instagram as A Wooden Nest or on YouTube as A Wooden Nest, and her podcast is really lovely. She's got a beautiful aesthetic that just makes me swoon. Just dark and dreamy and very everything that I love. I just want to kind of curl up in her podcast and stay there forever. It's very lovely, and she does some natural dyeing, which is beautiful. So check her out if you haven't already. And another one is called Joni Unraveled, and she's in the UK, I think in London, South London, and it's just fun. She's just hanging out. She's got young boys, and she knits lots of fun things, and I don't know, I always love British podcasts because they just make me miss the UK, make me feel a little bit closer there. So check her out if you haven't. She's also Joni Unraveled on Instagram and YouTube, so you can find her there. But I'll put all the information below. Okay, so I'm going to move in quickly to finished objects. Currently, my son is at homeschool theater, so I've come home to record while he's not here. Because last time you may have noticed, I don't know if you noticed any noise. I didn't hear much of it when I was editing, but a friend did say that she heard a bit, but she said she was listening for it, so maybe that's why she heard it. He was in the office, and he was very good about giving me space. He came out a few times, so of course I edited that part out. But otherwise, he was really great. So hopefully, I'll be able to finish this up in time to go pick him up at noon. So, okay, finished objects. Right, that's over here. So, I have 2 finished objects, which is very exciting. None of which you've seen before. So, I just finished things that were on my needles that I really wanted to get done. And, so I can move on. I really hate things sitting around languishing and just being there, and then I see the bags that they're in, and they just kind of poke at me and like, remember us? We're still here. And get them done so that I don't have to worry about it. So, both of them are socks. So here's one, and this is just a vanilla sock, but it's knit from a sock blank that I dyed, and I will insert a picture so you can see it. So it looks nothing like the sock blank, as you can tell. Oh my gosh, I just love how they knit up. You would never expect, I could put my blockers. You would never expect this from what the sock blank looked like. I just assumed you'd get these big, bold bursts of color everywhere. But no. You get a beautiful micro stripe with pops of color. And the way I dye my sock blanks is I basically use them kind of as drop cloths, and I just sit them beside where I'm dyeing, and everything drops onto them. And I then sat them, and knit them up. And so because of how they're dyed, the dye doesn't penetrate all of the yarn. So sometimes, and I don't know how other people dye theirs. Like when you see the ones with the pictures, I don't know, because I've never bought one, if the dye goes all the way through or if it's just kind of on the top. But obviously when it doesn't go all the way through, then you're not getting like a concentrated spot of dye in that area. So when you dye up the blanks, this is kind of what mine look like. This is I forgot I had this little bit left over. So that's the front, and then the back, it's not a lot of dye. Like it's very different concentration. So this is a 3-ply yarn. So the dye is not going through and covering or saturating all 3 plies. So when you unravel it, like you look here and you'll see, you think that you've got a whole bunch of color, that would all be colored, but then when you unravel it, it's just not. There's just pops, little bits, because it's not penetrating all the ply. So you get this really great micro striping effect. And also because the yarn at the sides, because they curl, aren't dyed, that's creating a micro stripe. And then this is just giving you pops of color, not concentrated, hard, like a hardened stripe. Just little bits. Oh my god, I love them so much. So these were knit on 2.25s, 56 stitches. So there's a little bit of negative ease, which I don't mind because I find socks stretch out so much that in the end they tend to be just perfect. And here's the other one. Not on a blocker, but so you get a pair, and of course they don't match, but it doesn't matter because they match, right? They still match. So great. So those are finished, and I'm thrilled with them. I'm trying to decide whether or not I wear them right away or if I put them in a box of socks and wait till the new year. I might, because I've got another pair on the needles. But anyway, this is another pair that I finished though before I get to that. Here's another pair that I finished. These are also knitted out of my yarn. So this is my Soul sock base, which is the 80/20 merino, superwash merino nylon. They're big. Like, see how easy that went on? They're pretty big. I think these are 64 stitches. I think they are. Or it's, I can't remember. I don't think I wrote it all down. But they're big, so I think these are 64 stitches on a 2.25. They are 2.25, so I think it's got to be 64 stitches. I'll say that how many more times. But they're big. So I think these might just be little house socks, or maybe in my boots, because they'll be warm. And that's a Hermione's Everyday sock. It's just oranges, little spots of cream and red. Love them. That's my creamsicle colorway, which I have not reproduced in quite some time, so maybe it might be time to bring that back. And they're so soft. Oh my god, they're so soft. So, 2 of those babies off the needles. So I have 2 socks in, like, since last time. To be fair to myself and to be honest, this was done, and this was done. I did a whole sock, and this one was right to the top of the heel flap. And the heel flap on both are just the modified Eye of Partridge from the Hermione's Everyday. I quite like that. That heel, so I just used that. And so I didn't do 2 full pairs of socks in like 9 days. I basically did like half a sock. Why am I like, what the heck? Okay, half a sock and a full sock. The rest were done. But still 2 pairs of socks done, and I'm very excited about that. So that's all I have for finished objects. I didn't tell you what needles they were on. One was on Chaogu DPNs, and the other one was on like a bamboo DPN, which I really like wooden needles. I'll get into a whole needle like thing at some point, but I really like DPNs because I love DPNs. I really like wooden DPNs because I'm a really loose knitter for the most part, and I find that they just, oh my goodness, they're falling out all over the place, and they're slippery, and they hurt my fingers, and wood moves. All my wooden needles have like the, I don't know if I have any here, have like these slight, can you see that? I don't know if you can see a bend to them. And I got new needles, and they're metal, and they're bent too. What? That one's okay. I don't know what is with how I hold my needles, but they bend, whatever I'm doing. Anyway, they bend, and it's kind of funny to me. I don't know what I'm doing, but whatever. Okay, works in progress. Works in progress. I cast on a new sock. The other work in progress I showed you last week was my son's solstice sweater, and I wasn't going to show it to you, but he's kind of seen it this far, so I think I can give you a little bit of an update, and then I probably won't. Because once that other work in progress is done, I'm going to just work on this. There's nothing worse than having it be like solstice eve and you're sitting there knitting frantically trying to weave everything in and get it done. I want it to be done by December 1st so that I don't have to worry about it. And that shouldn't be a problem because it's not a big sweater. But here it is. Are you ready? It's like so crazy bright. I don't know. I think in socks this would look fantastic. But a whole sweater? I wasn't really anticipating someone wanting a sweater's quantity of this. Leave it to my kiddo. Anyway, it's cool. It's totally gonna be him. Like, he will rock this sweater like nothing else. Sorry, it's kind of hard to show because it's all scrunched on these needles. It's fun. It's totally flashy like he wanted. Right? Anyway, that's cool. So that will hopefully be the last, well, that will be done by December 1st. I mean, that's lots of time. It's over a month. It's a month and a half. Tons of time. I just didn't want to, I don't want to rush it at the end, right? Like, I don't want to be frantically going crazy on it. And I mentioned this last time, that's my ZigZagStitches Christmas bag. Look at that fabric. I didn't really focus on the fabric last time. It's so pretty. Pinks and greens are so amazing together, and that's just the greatest little Christmas fabric. I love it. So that's that. And then my new work in progress is new socks. I'm not a sock knitter, like typically. Sorry, I just need to have a drink. I'm not a sock knitter typically. I am a garment knitter through and through. I'll knit the odd hat or something, but give me like a sweater every time over anything else. But since finishing those two socks, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm really wanting more socks. And I really do want to, I have a drawer full of just store-bought cotton socks that are fun stripes and patterns and stuff. But I find that I don't wear the majority of them. And I always just wear the same ones over and over and over. So probably most of that drawer I can get rid of. And I want to replenish it with handmade socks, of course. Excuse me, I have a few pairs, but I want the whole thing to be handmade socks. So this is my Voodoo Thing colorway. There it is, all balled up. Should have brought you a skein to see that I don't have one out. Anyway, that's it. And it's just so fun. It's kind of doing a weird little side stripey thing. I don't know if that will continue, but it's kind of started because it looks like here it's going to stop doing that. But you've got your speckles of browns and blacks and pops of purple and orange. It's just, and cream. And it's just going to be a vanilla sock. I was going to do a pattern sock because I was curious to see how the color would work up in pattern, but I like a nice vanilla sock too. So that's what I went with. And so those, I started those yesterday. So I think that I should be done the heel flap and gusset and all that stuff later on. And I'm going out for tea tonight with a friend, so I should be able to get all that done in time. Speaking of that friend, My Needle Crafts, do you know her on Instagram? If you don't, you should. So this is Cheryl, and her stuff is so amazing. Her bags are so great. She's got amazing big bags that I don't own any of those, but I need one. They're just different than most of the things that you've seen out there. And I bought these from her in the summer at a show we did together, Art in the Barn, that is in Dorchester, Ontario. And so we're having tea tonight. And so that will be fun, and I will bring my socks to knit while we chat. I love these. I'm not really a gimmicky kind of person when it comes to knitting. Like, you know, sometimes people get all the newest stuff, but these are handy because you know how many times you lose your stitches on DPNs? And I just love DPNs, so that's just, I don't know that. I've done Magic Loop, and I always come back to DPNs. My gauge is better on a DPN. I find my gauge gets really loose on Magic Loop. So this works well for me. And these needles are new acquisitions. So when we were at the Harry Potter Festival, I feel like I'm really all over the place, I apologize. When we were at the Harry Potter Festival, there was a yarn shop in Blyth, Ontario. I did not know that. It's called, oh goodness, I had it in my head, now it's gone. Twist into Stitches? Something like that. Anyway, it's very cute. And I went in because that's where one of the clues for the scavenger hunt was. And someone kept saying along the street, at the yarn shop, at the wool shop, at the yarn. I'm like, what? There's a yarn store? So I went in and looked around. I knew I wasn't going to buy anything because I'm on a spending hiatus for hopefully a year. We'll see. For yarn. But I can buy other things. And I have. But these are Knitter's Pride Cubics. I wanted the carbons, but they didn't have them in my size, which is 2.25. So I got these, and they're horrible, I find, to cast on with. So I won't be doing that again. I will probably use these as my cast on needles, which are just little Estelle Eco bamboo needles, and I like them. But I will use these to knit. They're not so bad. They are so, really, like, they bend. So mine already has a bend. I like did 3 rows and it was bent. What's up with that? Anyway, yeah, they're like, I think they're hollow. I'm not that strong. I think they're hollow. So anyway, that's kind of coming along nicely. Those are fun. Hopefully those will be done for next time. And I'll have made more progress on my flax and Isaac's flax light. We're well on our way to the holidays, getting Christmas knitting done. I have like a gabillion projects I want to cast on. Show notes. I didn't write anything down for future projects, but I have a lot in mind, and I'm wondering about that. And like, I have a bunch of sweaters that I want to do, and I want to make my father-in-law a hat for Christmas, and I have my son's socks to make for Christmas, and maybe a pair for my husband. I don't know. I guess we'll see where everything goes. I don't know. I also wanted to mention this bag, which is where those socks are living. This is kind of getting blown out. That's maybe better. This is a bag I got in a swap that I did. So I mentioned fiber share, I think, last episode, and it's something that you really need to look into if you don't know. I imagine that they'll probably bring fiber share up again in the new year, so you can sign up, and it's $7 US, and you basically get to curate a little package for somebody. I've received mine, and I want to show it to you, but I don't want to take up so much time. But yeah, fiber share is amazing. So the minimum requirements are that you send 200 grams of yarn or fiber, whatever your preferred fiber art is, to your partner. And then you have another partner that sends to you. So Facebook had a thread for fiber share, and a bunch of us were on that, sharing things that we'd bought for our fiber share friend or that we'd received. And Morgan had posted, so they did this thread that said, you know, link your business and, you know, whatever, and share who you are with us. So we did that, and Morgan posted her link, and I checked it out, and she makes these amazing bags. It's getting blown out. So pretty. They're quilted. I would come closer, but then I think it's really gonna get blown out, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I don't need bags because my husband can make me bags, and I have enough now. I don't have tons, but I have enough. But this was something special, really, really special. So we did a swap, because she said that her husband was telling her she should use up her yarn before she buys more. And so I said, well, why? We can swap. And she was all over that. So she sent me this beautiful bag. And I sent her a beautiful skein of my MCN for her to knit something for her soon-to-be, but now is here, baby girl. So you can find her stuff on Instagram and on Etsy as Shopping Knitting Nellie. God, check out her bags, guys. They are so beautiful. I just love them. There's a needle in there and it poked my hand. Look, okay, so this is the carbon. Can you see that, how bent that is already? Look at that. I don't know how I do that. Oh, I'm crazy. Anyway, so yeah, check those bags out. So lovely. Okay. Future projects. I have lots of sweater quantities of yarn. And there's a few things I want to make. I want to do a color work cardigan, I think. A lot of his yarns, some old stuff from Knit Picks that I got when they would have sales and I'd order a bag of yarn. So I have a lot. I think at least four sweater quantities of Knit Picks. And then I've got, I think, 3 or 4 sweater quantities from Iceland when we were there. A lot. Like, so I want to really work through my stash this year and get a lot of that knit because I really have no room to store more yarn. So if I'm to go to Rhinebeck in 2018, I won't have anywhere to put stuff when I come home if I haven't knit through what I have. Plus I have lots of single skeins of sock yarn, and so trying to match those up with other things can be challenging because none of them really go together. So they're really only maybe good for single skein shawls or socks. So I think it's a good way to just work through that and just knit lots of socks and kind of get a lot of that stuff to like decrease so that I can make room for new yarn babies to come into my life, which is what I really want. Okay, so I think I will leave future projects for there because I do have ideas. I said 8 sweater quantities of yarn, but I think there's 2 more that I forgot about. So 10. And I know that a couple of those I want to cast on relatively soon. Anyway, I'm rambling. Sorry if I feel scattered today. I'll tell you why. So we just found out right before I hit record that Gord Downey of the Tragically Hip passed away today. So if you're in Canada, you know that's a pretty big deal. I don't know, in the US, I know they're not well known in the rest of the world the way they are in Canada. So they're a huge band here and they're kind of like our national treasure. And I was really fortunate enough to see them play last summer when they came through on their final goodbye tour to their fans. And it was incredibly moving and difficult because he wasn't well, and you could tell he wasn't well. Particularly on our night that we saw him, he was he cut the show a little short by a song or two because he just didn't have the strength to go on. But he didn't show that. Like, he was full on. But then we realized afterwards when the set list was released that he missed a song or two. So anyway, that's kind of going over my head and I'm feeling very affected by that, and so I'm just a little scattered and talking too fast. Maybe I'll record this again, I don't know, but that's kind of why I'm all over the place, because we just found out that we lost him just today, and it's only like 11 o'clock in the morning and I found out like an hour ago, and so I haven't really even had time to process that for myself. So there we are. I feel like this is going to be a really short episode because I really went through it really, really quickly. But, oh well. That's just how it is sometimes, right? It's life. Okay. Let's move into acquisitions. Whilst I don't have yarn to show you, I do have other cool things. So, hold on. Okay. Right before, or right after, the same day maybe, that I recorded last time, I got a special little thing in the mail that I had ordered. Oh my goodness. Shetland Wool Week. I love it so much. So I had to order their newest publication. It's beautiful if you don't have it. Everything in here I want to make. Everything. I really love color work. And this isn't all color work, but most of it is. It's just like, look at this little beautiful stack of woolen goodness. Amazing. It makes me feel so cozy just looking at these pictures. Sorry. He's so cute. Okay, so I want to make everything, but I know everyone's already made the Booster beanie, but I still want to make it. And I have a lot of Knit Picks palette from a bunch of years ago that I might try and put into a Misty Meaty for my son. So cool. And that pattern's by Gudrun Johnston. It's everywhere. I mean, everyone's made one. And the color combinations are endless, so beautiful. And then the other thing that I really, really love, it's not necessarily my style, but it is so pretty, is this Addie's Scarf by Donna Smith. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Donna Smith has been pretty involved in Shetland Wool Week for a while, and if you don't watch the East London Knits podcast, you should go do that, because Renee has an interview with Donna Smith, and it's fabulous. And I could listen to her talk all day, because she's got the most fab Scottish accent ever. My husband and my son were doing other things, and they heard and it came running out of the room like, what are you watching? Because they love Scottish accents, and they both do Scottish accent. They do all kinds of accents. My son and my husband, talented. But they came running out of the room like, what is this? I'm like, it's just a knitting interview. And they both sat down and they watched the whole thing because they couldn't get over the accent. It's like, yeah, it's so cool. Anyway, there's amazing things in there's like Colorworks cowl and this beautiful pillow, Vermeer cushion, which is named for Johannes Vermeer. And this sweater, like that might be a life work right there. Like, oh, I love it. Anyway, oh, these little mitts, fingerless mitts. Anyway, I could show you every single pattern. Just order it for yourself because you won't regret it. And there's also essays and lots of really great, this hat's really pretty. I love that. Sunbro hat. Anyway, and there's lots of essays and stuff. It's worth having, and the photography is incredible. So that came, and I was just tickled pink, made myself a cup of tea, and sat down and like just stared at it for like 2 hours straight. Wonderful. Okay, other acquisitions. So I told you about my needles. Just one left in there because the other ones are being used, but they're cool. This is cooler. Okay, do you know about these? It's a snag fixer. I'd never heard of such a thing. My husband actually brought it to me. So we were in the yarn shop in Blyth where the Harry Potter festival was, and he said, have you seen these? I was like, nope. Fixes snags and knitted and woven fabrics. My guess is probably you all have these and know about them, and I'm in the dark, but it's so cool. So you basically put it in through the snag into the back of the fabric, it looks like, and it just pulls it back in like it never existed. And tell me we don't all need these, because snags. Oh my goodness. I'm so thrilled. $2.20 Canadian. So amazing. So I will report. I haven't used it. I should have used it and told you how amazing it was, but it's amazing just in the package. I don't think I need to use it to think that it's amazing. I will report back on how it works. I'm sure it's fabulous. Okay. Another thing that came right when I had finished podcasting was this amazing little pin that I'd ordered. I don't know if you can see that. It says, literally dying, D-Y-E-I-N-G. Yarn dying. And it's a pot. And the letter's supposed to be yarn. Oh my god. So, it's from shellycan.com or shelly.can on Instagram. Stuff is so amazing. Go check her out. I don't know if she has any of these left, but if you're a dyer, you probably need to have this. So great. And it's sparkly. Little things make me happy. This next one makes me so happy. So at the Harry Potter Festival, I keep wanting to come so close. I don't know why. So they had 2 tents set up. One was called Diagon Alley and one was called Hogsmeade. And a lot of the stuff was all just handmade stuff, which was fine. I mean, that's, seriously, I have nothing wrong with handmade. But again, having been in the UK and all the, like, the licensed Harry Potter stuff, just the quality was, it was just different, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It just was not what I was expecting. And a lot of stuff wasn't Harry Potter related at all. So, like, someone had salami. I wasn't expecting salami at the Harry Potter Festival. So there wasn't a lot of stuff that really caught my eye. But this did. You ready? Ah! I don't know why I just want to focus, maybe. If I come close, because the focus is on my face. Ridiculous. Oh my god, whatever. It's so cute. So it's a little cat with his little Gryffindor scarf and his scar and his glasses. It's adorable. And on the back, it's got its cat book profile. Oh, so cute. It says, "You have received a memento from Harry and the Potters." And his name is Harry Purr. So cute. So that's a pin. So those made me very happy. Also from Shelly, Shelly Can, I also got this. I feel like craft today. I have been feeling like craft lately, actually. Always. Anyway, cute. And then my son picked out these buttons for me. These little badges. See, so cute. So it says it's a knitting thing you wouldn't understand. True. Most people do. And this one. I love it. He's so cute that he thought of me when he saw those. And then the last thing I got at the Harry Potter Festival was this mushroom, which is actually a stamp. Yeah, I can't show you the end because it won't focus. But it has a crown on the top, and it has 2, I don't know, I think normally I would say like, I don't know what they are. Oh, maybe this was supposed to be arrows crossed like this. They look like knitting needles to me. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then it looks like fabric hung around. Probably like, maybe it's supposed to be a chair. It's like a royal crest of some sort. So my guess is it's a crown, the robe maybe hanging over the back of a chair, and like maybe 2 arrows or something like that. And it looked like knitting needles to me. And so I think I'm the queen of knitting in my house. And there's like fabric that I have knit hanging over my chair. That's in my head what I told myself. And so I bought it. It was like $5. Oh, it was so cute. So maybe I'll send that on parcels when I send out parcels. That would be fun to have a wax sealed thing sealing your none of that made any sense. Okay, let's move on, shall we? It's a long ramble on acquisitions. Okay, so coming up soon is a big shop update. Normally I update fairly often, like every week or 2. But it's hard in the summer because I have a lot of shows, and so things get depleted, and then I have to like replenish, and then I have another show and I get depleted. So summer's harder for me to update. I just had a big show on September 23rd when I did the Etsy pop-up show that happens across the country, the Handmade in Canada show, and I had a lot depleted. So my bins are really, really, really low. So I've been dying, but I have another show on November 12th, and so I'm trying to stock for that. But I wanted to get a big update in before that show, so I'm working on that. And so on November 1st, which is the next 2 weeks from Wednesday, so it'll be the next time I podcast, there'll be a big update that morning on Etsy at 10 a.m. Here are a few things that will be in that. There'll be lots in that, but this little pile will be in that. Well, all of that will be in it, but there's more. There's so much more. And I'm dying like daily right now because that's just kind of how I work. So I think I showed you this one last time. This is Moonstone, and it will be in the shop on multiple bases. So definitely Soul Sock, which is 80/20 superwash merino nylon, and then definitely on both worsted and fingering singles. This is Thestral. It will be in the shop on Soul Sock, Polar Worsted, which is single ply. So there's that. This is Tea Season, which is a pretty purpley brown with lots of specks of black and brown going through it. A little bit of orange. Reminds me of a cup of tea before you add anything. And it is certainly tea season now, although I drink tea all year long. It's never too hot for a cup of tea for me. So there's that. That will be there for sure on Soul Sock. I'm not sure about anything else yet. Loving Path will be restocked. That's my signature colorway. So it is a just ever so slight silvery purple. Bits of orange going through it. Speckles of purple and orange. A bit of brown. That'll be restocked for sure on Soul Sock. Probably on Willow, which is MCN. Fingering. Not sure about anything else yet. Maybe singles. This is Night Bus. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen the inspiration behind this, and that is the newest installment of the Harry Potter Illustrated editions, which has that beautiful night bus on the front cover, and that was my inspiration. Like, well, we need to honor that amazing artwork. So Night Bus will be in the shop on Soul Sock, on Willow, I think both. No, Willow, which is MCN, Fingering, and Polar Fingering and Worsted, which is singles. I know, it's so hard to get all those straight. It'll be in the shop on a bunch of different bases. This is a one-of-a-kind. It does not have a name yet. So when I'm dyeing, I always save all my dye. Like, I don't put anything down the drain. I just save it all in jars. And at the end of a week, or depending on how long it takes me to gather up dye, I just pop a bunch of skeins into it and dye up some one-of-a-kind colorways. My husband calls it my swamp water. So that's what we call it. And so this was swamp water. And it's a beautiful green. Speckles of navy, some browns, a little bit of black. I really like this. I only have 2 of those, so there'll be 2 of those in the update. That one's got more speckling that you can see. So those 2 will be in the update. And then this also doesn't have a name yet. I have a name in mind, but I haven't officialized it yet. so I'm still thinking about it. So this is super pretty. Oh my goodness, these beautiful golden tones lying hints of purple and bronze. So nice. I think I need a sweater in this. Wouldn't that be great? Nice. Maybe in like a worsted. I don't know. Anyway, there'll be this in the shop on a few different bases. Definitely Soul Sock, but others. Probably MCN for sure. That's some of what's going to be in the update on November 1st. So stay tuned for that. I won't have another podcast before then to remind you. So if you're interested in any of these, make sure that you set your calendar a reminder to check in at 10 a.m. on Etsy. I'll put all the information below so you can find me, and all that stuff will be there. I'm excited about that because it's going to be a big one. A big update is what I mean. Okay. That's update. I'm tired. Can I say that? I'm really tired. We've been really, really busy. My son is involved. So we homeschool, as I've mentioned before. Well, the one time I had an episode. We homeschool, and he's my only child, and he's busy. He's 11 now, and we just do a lot. We didn't always do a lot. He used to, we'd stay home and hang out a lot. But now that he's a bit older, he's pretty social. He likes downtime, but he's also pretty social and likes to get out and do stuff. And I am just not social. I do want to stay home and do nothing all the time. Or at least do stuff in my house that doesn't require me going out and having to deal with people. But we do. Every single day this fall, he has something except for Saturdays. It's the only day we have nothing planned. And it's really starting to take a toll on me. First of all, we had a really busy summer. He is in musical theater. And there's a musical theater youth company here called Original Kids Theater Company. And he's been a member for a bunch of years. And this past summer he had a show which was High School Musical, and it was so much fun. They were amazing. They had an incredible artistic staff, which are often alumni of the company itself. And this year, director was an alumni, and she'd only graduated a few years before. So she's just, I think, in her second or third year at university. And she was amazing. And we had an incredible choreographer, Gemma, if you're watching. Hi, Gemma. Who just was amazing with the kids, and they loved her so much. They still talk about her and miss her. And she was from New Zealand, and she was here for a couple of years, and now she's gone back to New Zealand. So of course we became good friends, and her and Isaac bonded quite intensely, and we miss her something awful. And then they had an amazing vocal coach as well. So and then there's a stage manager, an assistant stage manager, all of whom were just fabulous. And the kids had 4 months of rehearsal, so they bonded. Like, they really had a long time to bond, and they got really, really close. This show, some shows, it's a few people get close. They get close during the show, and then they kind of drift afterwards. But this show, they're all pretty close. And they're still texting each other, and they've got their group chat on Instagram, and they're talking, and it's just so awesome. So that ran until like the first week of August, and he had like 10 shows, I think, in 9 days, something like that. It was crazy. And then he had a couple weeks off after he had camp, and then a couple weeks off, and then he started back into rehearsals for this show, which is Oklahoma. And it's almost sold out, and it runs November 3rd to 5th. So he's got 6 shows in 3 days. So when I podcast next, it's going to be the week of his tech rehearsal. So Halloween is the 31st. His tech rehearsal that's the Tuesday. The tech rehearsal is the Wednesday night, 5 hours of tech. Dress rehearsal Thursday night, 5 hours of dress. Show opens Friday. They've got a school show in the afternoon. And then their opening night, Friday night. 2 shows Saturday, 2 shows Sunday. And then we're done. I'm glad because I'm tired. I'm tired. And I haven't been feeling great this month. And so I'll be glad when that's just kind of behind us. And then, but he also has like piano and swimming in his dance class, and he has voice lessons and homeschool theater where he is right now. And right now his rehearsals for Original Kids are 3 times a week. So it's just taking up a lot of our time, which is great, but tiring. So I thought to commemorate, that's the right word, to celebrate the end of his theater run for the fall, that I'm going to do a giveaway. Just because I'm excited that I will now have 3 nights back to myself. So I haven't put all those details together yet. His show won't actually be done until November 5th, but I podcast again probably on the 1st, so I will announce all the details then, and then you'll have to the following podcast episode to enter. So all the details will be in the next episode, but just know that it's coming. A little giveaway to celebrate the end of this theater run and me regaining 3 nights a week to myself. It's very exciting. Yeah, and so, I mean, what did I say? Halloween, what's today? I think next, so not this weekend, but next weekend is the start of Original Kids Theater, like their season. So it starts with Adam's Family for Halloween. That's going to be amazing. We've got lots of friends in that show. And then it's Oklahoma the following weekend. And then we just keep going all the way through the fall into the winter. And then Christmas we break and what have you. So we've got shows coming up. Halloween's coming up. Tech Week for Isaac and his Oklahoma show. And then I'll be back here again. So that's really all I have planned for the next few weeks. Just a little bit of running all over the place, doing lots of fun things. But yeah, I think that's it. I feel like that was really rushed, even though it says an hour, 55 minutes. But I feel like I rushed through things, so I'm sorry if I did. It'll be better next time. My mind and my heart are a little scattered today with sad news, and I'm not sure this is the best time to podcast since I have to leave in 15 minutes to pick him up. So maybe if it feels rushed, maybe it's because I'm subconsciously feeling like I gotta get this done. I don't know. We'll see. We'll work something out as time goes by. But thank you for tuning in. If you want to find me elsewhere on social media, you can find me on Ravelry as The Loving Path and on Instagram as The Loving Path Yarn. You can find me on Etsy as The Loving Path. I'll have all the information down below or at the end of the podcast. Stay tuned if you want to see some pictures and highlights from our weekend, this past weekend, of Harry Potter. There's not lots, but there's a little bit, and some video of our drive through the country. And I think until next time, I'll say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching and for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I hope to see you back here in 2 weeks. Happy knitting. Bye.